Now, I frequently get questions about transposition. Anything from what is transposition to why do we need transposition? Why can't we just learn our notes off of the piano? Those sorts of things. So, I thought I would take an opportunity to answer some of these questions in this video. Now, before we get started, let me mention that transposition is really a good thing. Transposition, first of all, allows us to learn one system of fingerings for all saxophones. On all saxophones, soprano, tenor, alto, bari, C is fingered like C, G is fingered like G, etc. So this transposition allows us to learn one system of fingerings for playing C's, G's, and all the other notes on these instruments, even though they sound different on each instrument. For example, a middle C on soprano sounds like a high C on tenor saxophone. A middle C on tenor saxophone sounds like a low G on alto, and it also sounds like a high G on baritone saxophone. And it even sounds like a B flat on piano. So we've got all kinds of different things to deal with here. But transposition simplifies that. So that way we don't have to learn how to read a bunch of different notes for all these different saxophones, how to finger their notes differently, etc. Now, the other thing is that it makes music reading easy, because if the notes were written on the staff where they sound, it would be ridiculous. Let me give you an example. Tenor saxophone is, if it were written where it sounded, would be half in bass clef, half in treble clef. Man, what a nightmare that would be. Baritone sax would be in bass clef. All kinds of nightmare issues as far as reading and writing music for saxophones would occur. So transposition simplifies that process. Now, understanding transposition is another story. That makes it easy for us to communicate things like notes and key signatures to other instruments. So if we know that, for instance, we're playing in C on tenor saxophone, and that's the key of B flat, we can just tell the piano or the guitarist, the rhythm section that we're playing with, that we want to play in the key of B flat. And if we tell those guys we're playing in B flat, maybe there's an alto player, they know to play a transposed key of G. So I know that's getting a little complex. So let's talk about how transposition works and how you can understand it on your instrument. First of all, let's talk about B flat instruments. Tenor saxophone and soprano saxophone are both B flat instruments. That means that B flat on piano sounds like C on both of those instruments. That's the other thing that to be aware of when you talk about a transposed instrument like E flat alto saxophone. It's all about what C sounds like on that instrument. E flat on piano sounds like C on an E flat instrument. You may have heard of F horns, French horns in F. F on piano sounds like C on French horn. Now, we're not really going to cover French horn transposition, but that's kind of the root of transposition. What it is on concert pitch instruments that sounds like C on the transposed instrument that you're playing. Now, that still makes it a little tricky to figure out what's going on if you're having to think this inverse relationship. C on piano sounds like, or C on sax, I'm going to confuse myself if I keep talking like that. The easy way to transpose for B-flat instruments like tenor sax, soprano sax, trumpet, and clarinet are both B-flat instruments is to just think up a whole step from the key that you're transposing from. For instance, if the pianist or the rhythm section, the band, is playing in the key of G, you go to the second step of the G major scale and you find that you're in A. Now the band, maybe they're playing in G major, you'll play in A major. Maybe they're playing in G minor, you'll play in A minor. So it's very important that you understand your major scales. That's one of the reasons we want to learn our major scales. So many reasons to learn the major scales, but that's one of them for transposition. So, another key, let's say the band is playing in key of E flat. So you want to go up to the second note in the E flat scale, that's F. So if the band's in E flat major, you're in F major. If the band's in E flat minor, you're in F minor. Maybe you're playing with a flute player, concert pitch, and they want you to play a D with them, just the note D. You transpose up a whole step. D, the second note in the D major scale, is E. that's your note. That's the note that you would transpose to. So transposition on B-flat saxophones like soprano and tenor is easy. You just go up a whole step. Conversely, if you're playing in F and you want to tell the rhythm section what key to play in, you think down a whole step. You send them to the key of E flat. If you're playing in the key of G, you just think down one whole step, a whole step G, F sharp, F. If you have a hard time thinking down a whole step, think down two chromatic notes, G, F sharp, F. That can tell you to tell the rhythm section to play in the key of F, or the concert pitch instruments that you're playing with. Now, let's talk about alto saxophone and baritone saxophone. That's a little bit more difficult. The transposition for alto and baritone sax is a sixth, a major sixth. You go up a major sixth. So if the band is playing in G, you go up to the sixth note in the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E. That puts you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That tells you your key. You could also think down if you wanted to. You could think, remember, if we're numbering the major scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, think of G as 8, 8, 7, 6. You're down to the key of E, G, F sharp, E. That would put you in the key of E if you were thinking down, or if you're thinking up. Now let's say the band is playing in A flat major, and they want you to transpose for alto sax. They're in A flat. What key are you going to play in? You count up to the sixth note on the A flat major scale, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F. Remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put you in F on alto sax. If they're in A flat major, you're in F major. If they're in A flat minor, you're in F minor. And again, you could also think down. A flat, G, F, 8, 7, 6. That would put you in F. Okay? If you want to tell the band what key to play in, you go up a minor third. Let's say you're in the key of C and you want to have the band play with you. Think C, D, E flat. Now if you're having a hard time thinking what is a minor third, well, just remember a minor third is a half step less than a major third. You could count up to the major third and then drop it a half step. If you're in C, C, D, E, oh, I want to go to minor third, that would be E flat. So if you're in C and you want to tell the band what key to play in, you're playing alto sax, you think up to that minor third, E flat, that's their key. You know, if you're in G and you want to tell the band what key to play in, G, A, B is a major third. Well, G, A, B flat is a minor third. So you're in G, the band would be in B flat. Or if you're playing a G note and you want to have that flute player play with you, same thing. 1, 2, 3, G, A, B, make it a B flat, G, A, B flat. That's the key that you're going to tell the concert instrument to play. Now, I've included with this video a PDF that has, or a written component that has all of this stuff written out, and there's also a transposition guide so you can kind of match up the concert pitch note with the note for alto or baritone sax, or the note for tenor saxophone. That way you can cross-reference all three, the concert pitch, the E-flat instrument, and the B-flat instrument. So that'll help things if you're still a little bit confused until you really start to latch on to what this is about. And it might take a little while for you to really completely be thoroughly competent with transposition, but it's very important so that you can play with other musicians. Okay? If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to drop me a note. I love to hear from folks. Or if you have questions about transposition or about other topics that I can address, I'd love to hear from you. Okay? Take care.